It's interesting. We've gotten combination therapies and shown positive results with PD-1-based combinations in the front line, but we knew very little about what PD-1 or PD-L1 alone would get you in the front line. So we did the Keynote 427 study, which looked at pembrolizumab at its standard dose in 2 cohorts of patients, those patients with clear cell and those patients with non-clear cell kidney cancer. So we've seen the results in clear cell kidney cancer, and the results were actually better than we thought, meaning the response rate for patients with clear cell kidney cancer, the trial was 110 patients. The response rate was in the mid-30s. It was actually higher in patients who had intermediate and poor risk, where it was 42%, and higher in patients with PD-L1 positive tumors, where it was 50%. So we had a sense that this agent actually worked in the first line. It was less toxic than some of the other combinations because it's single agent, so there's not 2 different toxicities to deal with. So it's a relatively clean therapy, a relatively effective treatment. I think it's not clear that single agent PD-1 will become a thing that we apply in the clinic, but it'll give us a sense of how active are these combinations, because we now have sort of a standard of what to expect with single agent, so folks can decide, are combinations worth it for their patients? It also gives us a sense that since single agent is active in patients with metastatic disease who have been untreated, let's try to move these single agents into the adjuvant setting, and there's several large adjuvant trials looking at immune checkpoint blockade. So this gives more incentive, I think, to enroll patients on those trials, because we know these drugs are probably pretty active. We've also attempted to try to overcome resistance pathways by combining PD-1 blockade with other immune therapies. We've shown effectiveness combining PD-1 with CTLA-4, with IPI and Nivo, but we're now combining PD-1 with other immune therapies in the case of, for example, IDO inhibition with epacadostat. It's not entirely clear how well that strategy is going to work in kidney cancer. We did recently a large randomized phase 3 trial in melanoma, comparing PD-1 epacadostat with PD-1 alone. That trial showed no impact of the IDO inhibitor, no negative effect, but no positive effect on efficacy outcomes in that trial. And that's made us sort of question, going back, do we have the right patients? We saw a very interesting data with the combination of phase 1 study, but it didn't hold up in phase 3. Maybe we need to go back to the drawing board and try to figure out, before we start these phase 3 trials, let's figure out which group needs, for example, an IDO inhibitor or a VEGF inhibitor or a CTLA-4 inhibitor before applying these strategies broadly. Because if we try to do that, we might see more negative trials like we did in melanoma.
Clear study is lenvatinib plus pembrolizumab, another TKI-IO combo, or lenvatinib everolimus, which is TKI plus mTOR inhibitor, which was approved on the basis of a randomized phase 2, and Sutent as a control. So it's a little bit different that it's 3 arms. It's testing that lenvatinib everolimus combination, which was approved, although very toxic. And I think probably most interestingly, testing the lenvatinib plus pembrolizumab, which is clearly going to be active. And again, once all the dust settles, we'll have to figure out how to use all these combos and which one's best, et cetera. But that awaits further data.